Good morning to all of you still in isolation. As promised and discussed, we'll be starting our first few chapters of A.T. Annie, written by a little Swedish girl known to the cave forums. So, here we go, and I hope you enjoy. It was just a little village, 15 houses at most. There had been a huge battle a week earlier, massive casualties on both sides. So many fallen, so many wounded. I tried to put the intestines back into a young man. He was screaming. He didn't want to be here, but he answered his motherland's cries of pain. And now his blood was giving nutrition to the flowers growing in the field where his last rest would come. I couldn't do anything to help him, nor any of the others I watched die, but they were few of many. I didn't even know what their names were. They wouldn't know mine if I fell, either. I didn't have a real name anyway. I sat in the house, not in by the window. Anyone could see my silhouette. I sat further back by a table. The only thing I had to defend myself against the fascist onslaught was my comrades. And of course, Duse. She may be one of many million rifles looking just like her, but she was mine. And just like me, there was more to her than a rifle. I found her some distance from a small town called Rzeszów. I actually thought she was an orphan or a maiden that had lost her bearings, but that was not the case. And now she is in my arms, in a little house, and watches gray-clad men walk out of the tree line. The orders are to hold fire until the sergeant fires. I follow one of them with the front side post. With Duse, I can hit a man at 250 paces. That is just under 200 meters. Not the longest distance, but I can do that in light or darkness, and no matter if it rains normal rain or a hail of metal. I remembered the silence. It was always quiet before the shooting started. There was a scream and a rifle or two waking to life. Those who stood in the same house as the sergeant could fire just as he did. But I had to wait for the gunshots and the screams, because as soon as the first shots rang out, the Germans threw themselves at the ground and had their machine guns set up within seconds. It was a few months ago that we had started encountering hostiles with an entirely new kind of machine gun. It was as well made as their other guns, but it had an extremely high rate of fire and made a terrifying sound. I took careful aim. Duse sang again, throwing away a single bullet. I couldn't really see if I hit it, but the sound of the gun stopped. I took another life. I'd been told my kind should only do that in my metal form, that I could have no opinions, not do anything unless I was made to. Maybe I was different. I certainly didn't look much like the rest of my kind. I stood a head above most of the men I fought with. At any rate, I was happier having a weapon of my own, so I could at least influence my death if it came to that. I cycled another round. The grass was tall, so as long as they lay down, I couldn't hit them reliably, but I know what they do. The machine gun starts, and the men advance to new ground. I hold my fire until someone stands up. A round hits him. My aim was a little off. It went too low and would hit him in the guts. It would probably not kill him immediately, even if his fate was sealed. I didn't want him to suffer, but his leader was an enemy of my leader. He was instructed to kill my comrades, and as for me, they would kill me. Afterwards, after they had... I shuddered by just the thought, so I had to shoot. I don't regret shooting him, even if it was a regretful thing to do. I do regret that he had to suffer. I chambered another round. My aim was steady, but I saw the machine gun being pointed in my direction. At me? The house I was in? I didn't care. I didn't want to take that chance. I threw myself at the floor and listened to the bullets tearing up the window I stood in. I was scared. Of course I was. Only a fool isn't afraid when he is being fired at. In a fraction of a second, a break in the fire, I heard footsteps. I had another gun with me. A revolver with writing I didn't recognize on the side. It was given to my first soldier when he used me to shoot a German panzer, pinning it in place and allowing a friendly BT tank to destroy it. Of course, he died long ago, but I kept the revolver. I laid down on my back, in the middle of the room, with it pointed at the door. I had 6 rounds and was ready for anything. But something happened, and to this day, I'm not quite sure what. Something from outside exploded. Something might have impacted near me. A bullet ricochet? Whatever it was, it made me close my eyes and lose my focus. It was at exactly that second the door was kicked in, and a gray-clad man took aim at me. He fired. I felt a stinging pain in my lower rib cage, but it wasn't enough to kill me right there. As he reached to chamber a new round, I fired 2 chambers from the revolver. One went into his lungs, and one went a little lower. That was definitely going to be fatal. In sheer panic, I crawled up to the wall behind me and tore my uniform off. I was hit, but it was only a glancing hit. I bled, but I would live. I knew that. I even remember I thought it was strange how an 8mm Mauser projectile did as little as it did, so I just got some white cloth I cleaned in a stream a week ago. I applied it with haste, got my uniform back on, and only then realized that wasn't only luck. Daja had taken that bullet for me. Her stock was shattered and completely destroyed. I picked her up, the splintery wood stinging in my hand. I undid the leather sling from the ruined stock and tied it further up to an undamaged part of the stock. She was unusable as she looked now. I slung her over my back and ran to the killed soldier. His rifle would serve me for the rest of the fight. We managed to hold them off for the day, at the loss of 7 men, taking us down to 19, and me. First, tend to the wounded. I looked over my wound, but it didn't need much more attention. Then we looted what we could from the enemy. Food, maps, supplies, anything we could take. Then the weapons. As you can imagine, if any German weapon showed herself, she got treated in an almost inhumane way, especially the machine guns. Luckily for them, it's very hard to force a spirit out of a weapon. I could, they couldn't. And I felt some kind of sympathy for them, so I kept quiet. But I had a weapon of my own to tend to. Of course, I shouldn't have nursed Daja out. She screamed, a bone-shattering, blood-chilling shriek. I should never have done that. I reached for her neck, and soon had my ruined rifle in my hands again. I shook in fear as well. I had done awful things to those who stood against me, but this was someone I relied on, someone I held close. I did that. There was a blood stain on the wall and floor where she sat and screamed from her horrific wounds. I ran out again. I knew one of the privates had a soulless rifle, or one with a spirit had been killed. That stock would be Daja's now. I thought I could comfort her, but I learned a very important thing. If the weapon is damaged, do not get the spirit out. Repair first. Otherwise, irreparable damage can be done to the spirit. Daja was actually a rather bland girl. Her hair was rather dark. Eyes were brown. Pretty was never going to be the first word one would think if they saw her. Homely, maybe. I thought I could fix her with just a brand new stock, but she sat there in front of me. She tried to get up, but the sleeves of her jacket were empty. I took it off, revealing just a linen top, and there she could see it. The 2 little stumps poking out from her shoulders where her arms once were. I remember how she was shaking, how the tears were building up in her eyes. She was flailing her ruined arms and shrieking in panic. Her legs were kicking in frustration. I had never comforted someone that was going to live before, but I embraced her. It was uncomfortably easy to constrain her. I was taller than almost all the men, and this was just a little maiden. It took long for her to have calmed down to a slow sob in my arms. She cried still. I didn't know what to do, but I couldn't stand her soul-breaking cries, so I took her by the neck instead. Because the Mosin Nagant rifle looked like it used to, even if the stock was a little different. I thought that entire day on what to say to her. How could I possibly redeem what I had done to her? I understood a rifle was there to serve the humans, to defend them, but I was not one. I looked like one. I still do. All my traits are that of a human, but at just a wish I could also become a rifle. But unlike all my sisters and brothers, even if there was very few of the latter, it was never enough for me. I had something nothing could ever cure, a desire, a lust for the unknown. It actually took me a year before someone told me it had a name: curiosity. This curiosity, the desire to be something I wasn't, had brought harm to someone who had never deserved it. That night, when everyone else was asleep, I made her come out so I could speak. She was still devastated over what she had become. She claimed she had no worth in this form, that she could do nothing. So I had to fill human worth into something that wasn't human. I tried to silence her soft words in a softer embrace, but my beloved Duse never wanted to be herself. I could do nothing but change perspective to keep her happy with herself. I said she was a new being. Duse was gone, and a diminutive Dashinka had taken her place. Dashinka's job was to take care of what I needed in war. By day, she was my protection against the entire world, my first and last line of defense. By night, she would keep me warm or give me what I desired. I lied and said that I was foremost a soldier, and then a woman, when I was neither. I said she was first a rifle, and then a woman, that I had authority over her, and that she would do whatever was necessary to keep me in as good of a fighting condition as possible. Dashinka had, unlike me, no illusions about what she was, and accepted. From there on, until I reached the silo, I never had a cold night, even in the deepest winter. There was a term we used for those that didn't make it to Germany, or Berlin in particular: lost on the road. If you asked 10 men in the Red Army in Berlin where his best friend was, he would say he was lost on the road. Dashinka was one of those. It wasn't a mistake. No one was at fault. Simply, a piece of fragmentation hit her and missed me. Nothing to prevent it, and since no one was medically trained, nothing to stop it. From there on, I got another rifle, that I had until I stood a day's march away from Berlin. It all turned around. I never got to Berlin. Instead I got Wrocław, a battle just as red. It was held so fiercely it fell well after Berlin did. 2 days later the war ended. And with that came also the end of this part of my life. Eventually they found out I wasn't from the east of the Urals, in a little village no one had heard of. I was caught, taken apart, and put in a box. This is where another of my peculiarities come in. Some of my kind still have senses in metal form. Most can feel, many can hear, some can smell, and a select few can even see. But the only thing I could sense when in that box was time, which gets infuriating if you have nothing but time. I waited a long time, but in the end, it was worth it. Chapter 1 of A.T. Knock, knock, knock. Pissed off at everything and everyone, you head downstairs and prepare to scream at anyone who dared interrupt you on your day off. Oh, hello, Miss Evans. Anon, dear. I hope I'm not disturbing you, am I? No, I was up reading the, paper, actually. I have a favor to ask of you. You know I am trying to get rid of my husband's old things now that he's gone, but I could use a little help with the garage. Could you help an old woman? I'll even give you some dollars for your help. Sure, Miss Evans. This woman most likely predates the invention of the wheel and could use a hand. You spend a good 3 hours helping her clean out the garage. She does what she can, but you do the heavy lifting. Anon, there's an old iron pipe in here. Could you move it to the waste pile? That's not a pipe, that's a barrel. Like 3 feet of barrel. Wait a second. The silly long gas tube. The fuck huge muzzle brake. That's a fucking PTRS barrel. You dive in and look for the rest of it. The rest of the rifle is just next to it, so that OP got completed quickly. Miss Evans, that pipe was actually a barrel to a rifle, and it is definitely going in the trash pile. Actually, mind if I just take this instead of anything you pay me? You are crazy, little one, but if that is what your heart desires, so be it. Just as you are finished, you run home. Well, as much running as a 50 pounds, almost 7-foot rifle allows. Well, at home, you figure out how to get the thing assembled. Fuck, that's a big rifle. Oh, my beautiful rifle. Imagine she was going to throw you away. Well, I won't, you say loudly to no one at all as you embrace the still steel and wooden gun. But for now, some damn food. That woman had battalions worth of shit in the garage and you carried most of it. Milk and cereal? Well, why the fuck not? Your eating is interrupted by noises from the living room. You listen for a second. Nothing. You return to eating. Actually, this is a good point to return to bed. You really need some sleeping after last night. The rifle can't stand on the kitchen table, and so you brought it along. After all that work, sleep comes easy. You wake up sometime later by having someone half lying on you. Wait, what? Who are you? A pair of big blue eyes stare back at you. I am your rifle. You saved me from going in the trash. I love you. What's your name? You try to get up to create some distance, but this does not achieve very much. She's a little bit heavy. Did I bring home a fucking land whale? This is a little creepy. She gets up quickly, sitting on the side of the bed. Her hair is long and coal black, and you are starting to see where that weight is coming from. She's not fat. Her figure is actually really good, and she has two very large and round things going for her, but she appears to just be very tall. Even just sitting on the bedside, she has an inch or two over you, and you are just on the right side of 6 foot. Do you have a name? Sure, I'm Anon. Hello, Anon, and thanks again. I've been in there for a long time, and there are so many things I want to do, but if you are tired, we can rest first. I'm not gonna get any more sleep now anyways, so do you have anything planned? Her eyes light up, glimmering, almost staring into the deepest being of your soul. Everything. That sounds great, but you can't do everything in one afternoon. You have to start at one thing, and then you do one thing later, you know, so you have to start somewhere. But there is so much. I want to shoot. I want to get real food like you eat. I want to be loved. I want to be cleaned and cleaned like you as well. Shower, right? I want to do that too. Well, I suppose we could start with eating. Might get a chance to know you a bit. Yes, and the same for me. Gonna have to go get some groceries first though. I could make you some... What? You? No. You are man and owner. I am woman and rifle. I make the food. That has always been roles. I can't look like I cannot handle myself in kitchen on first day like this. It would be shameful. Okay, I got precious little here though, so we still have to go buy something. Together? Yeah, sure, just, you know, be like you are now and all will be cool, alright? Okay, Anon, let's go. When she got dressed again, it was painfully obvious that she was at least 2 inches taller than you. Probably 3 or something, actually. She seemed shocked to the fact that you had your own car, even if it was a 20-year-old shitbox. Her eyes light up as soon as you get to the store. So many things. What? This isn't even a big store. Her eyes, however, do not cease to sparkle. She takes her time and inspects what feels like every goddamn item in the entire store, asking what everything is, even if half of what you say and show her is completely new. It's touching seeing her getting some kind of all-new experience. She is also completely oblivious that both baskets that she refuses to let you carry are filled to the brim and most likely very heavy. You show her how to put the items on the track without tank and pay for everything. Put it in 3 bags and head for the car. She took so much time it's actually dark outside. So much for doing everything. Just around the corner to the parking lot, a melanin-enriched gentleman is standing, some pistol half drawn. You honky. Why don't you... This is as far as he gets. Before you have even started thinking about reaching for your pistol, his face is approached by a very fast right jab. Very soon afterwards, he's on the ground, with 2 hands grabbing his collar, a knee in his stomach, and a very angry woman screeching very angry sounding things in Russian 2 inches from his face. He tries to move, but faces just the same weight issues you did, but under very much more unpleasant conditions. The pistol wasn't even a real one, and is quickly destroyed with a swift stomp. You are still in shock. Sorry, Anon, that man was not nice at all. It is okay, right? That was very fast. You should never point toy gun at someone. I'm sorry if I got a little upset. You know what? I'm completely fine with that. Okay, Anon, good. Let's go home and I can make you some food. You know, as much as I'd love you to cook for me, I can make food myself. Of course you can. You are a man, no? You can, but you also have a woman in house who can, so you don't have to. Well, if you say so, let's go. You get home, she gets in an apron and starts cooking. She cooks a massive casserole of something, but it smells delicious. So, thanks for the food. Actually, you never told me your name. Don't worry, it is my duty, no? And my first soldier who should have done that only called me bad things because I couldn't cycle when I was dirty. And then there was Storage, and then the other man that died now, and he only shot me once. I never showed myself to him. He fought in Korea, and I was afraid of that. But that is all over now because you have me now, Anon, and you will treat me better because you said I was beautiful and that you wouldn't throw me away. Yeah, no, I wouldn't ever do that. She just smiles and looks really happy. This makes you happy, and you fill yourself to the brim with food, and yet most of it is left. So, what's some more on your list of things to do? She ponders this for a second. I want to be clean now. I'd have to look up how to properly clean a PTRS, I suppose. Maybe I can shower instead. There's a few minutes of silence from the bathroom. Are you alright in there? Anon, could you help me? I've never showered before and I don't know how they work. Is she serious? I'll come in then? Yes. She is standing in the shower booth and looks at the shower head as if it was a mystery. She also had absolutely no clothes on, and your presence does not seem to bother her in the slightest. Right. Use this lever to get the right temperature for the water, and use this. Have warm water as well. Yeah, of course. Can I use it to shower in? Yes, what else? Thank you, Anon. And you are pulled into a tight hug. Her obvious height advantage and generous bust makes this a very interesting experience. You try to say, no problem or something similar, but your voice is muffled to her great amusement, and she's blushing slightly as she lets go. No problem. The soap is that one. Careful not to get it in your eyes. You'll figure out the rest yourself. Thank you, Anon. This girl really isn't the shy one. And never showered? Maybe give her a good cleanup as well. I mean, she's basically a bigger SKS. Should be some internet guide for those, right? The time she is taking in the shower, feeling a dozen different temperatures of water at her own will, you spend looking up what it would cost to feed her. And to surprise no one, 14 by 5 by 114 is fucking expensive. But you say goodbye to that video you were planning on buying and place an order. The noise from the shower stops, and it all goes silent for a while. She exits after a while, having done her best to wrap herself in a towel. Well, she tried at least. I'm afraid I have to get some more sleep now. I have to work early in the morning. Okay, it is good that you have work. She stops and thinks for a moment. Where can I sleep? Because I'm too large to fit in the safe unless you take off my... You sleep where you want to. Really. Thanks, Anon. I'll just dry myself up first. She removes the towel she tried to wrap herself in and starts to drag it over her body to get dry. Once again showing off pretty much all of her again. She really isn't the shy one. You decide to admire the scene unfolding in front of you, and she has quite the body. Not only is she like 6'3", but she is borderline muscular as well, but not in a going to the gym a lot kind of way, but rather a natural strength, like someone who has had a hard job for many years. This is especially apparent in her legs and upper arms. It's not like she's underfed either. Do you really think I am beautiful? Actually, you said so when you carried me in, and the eyes you're looking at me now tells me all I need to know. You are caught staring. This does, however, seem to make her happy. No one has ever looked at me like that. Actually, you're the first person who has been nice to me. But you have to sleep for work tomorrow. Sorry if I'm keeping you up. It's no problem at all. Decide where you want to sleep yet? Can I sleep here? If you want to, sure. She lies down next to you. In a very strange reversal of moves, you end up being the little spoon. You admit to yourself, quite shamefully, why someone would like to be the little spoon. There's an amazing feeling of safety. The arm your head is resting upon, the chest in your back slowly contracting and expanding with every breath, the arm wrapped around your side and stomach. It feels safe. However, isn't she the one that's supposed to feel this? Anon, I've been happy all day. It's the first time in my life that happened. I love you, Anon. Good night. One would think it would be hard to fall asleep if someone just said that, but right now it's the easiest thing in the world. Until that goddamn alarm clock wakes you up. Fuck you, alarm. Could you, let me go? I gotta hit work. Oh, I'm sorry. I will not hinder you to get to work. So, I'll leave you alone for now. The house is yours. Watch TV, read a book, get something to eat, whatever you want. I'll be back in the afternoon, alright? And you really need a name. Think of something while I'm out if you want to. But that is the job of first soldier. And I don't want to be named what he called me. You should do it, Anon. I'll think, alright? But I have to go now. Okay? See you in the afternoon, yes? The day at work is mostly spent being a bit confused. This woman is one of the strangest people you've ever met. Very kind, though, and the whole thing with her liking me, she's not playing. Well, in any case, a load of 14.5mm is on the way, and I should be able to pick them up at the local gun store before heading off to the range on Friday. Actually, maybe they are not very happy about bringing an AT rifle there. Fuck. Well, worth a try at least. As you approach the driveway, something is immediately different. Strangely, a good different. You open the front door. Once again, it's somehow a good different in here. Hello? Anon! She rushes down the stairs. Wearing an apron, her sleeves are rolled up and she's in fact a little dirty. Hey, the talking is difficult when you're being a bit squashed. You try to hug back and this makes her somewhat ease up her grip. This is a nice place to be. Wait a second. Have you been cleaning? Yes. Wait, even the front lawn looks better. Did you? Yes. I cut the grass and cleaned up a little bit outside. And inside I swept and mopped the floor, wiped inside all the cupboards and cabinets, and whoa, you don't owe me anything, and you shouldn't have cleaned the entire house? Don't say that. Look, you go to work and I do things at home. Today I cleaned. Besides, I can't sit inside all day and not do anything while you go to work. Well, you kinda can, you know. Anyway, you don't have to do anything as long as I'm here, because now it's time to get you ready for the range. Range? Come on, the shooting range. You want to be shot, right? If her eyes lit up when you showed her the store, it wasn't even a tenth of this. You found ammo. Sure I did. Can't have a rifle and not shoot it, can I? I love you, Anon. You managed to brace yourself slightly before being almost squashed again, but it seems to do no good. Then again, this isn't exactly an uncomfortable position to be in. Very soft, little hard to breathe perhaps, but it's definitely worth it. PTRS is beside herself and screeching "When are we going?" over and over and over again. Tomorrow, I'll pick you up after work. We head and pick up the ammo together, and then we go to the range. Sounds good? Yes! Yes, that sounds great. But first off, you've been in the garage for a long time. I'll have to clean you up before we go there. Wouldn't want a dirty rifle or a jamming one. Cleaning? That's not going to be a problem, is it? No, it will not be, Anon. But it was some time ago, and so I'm sorry if... Whoa, rifle maintenance is not your job. I have a rough idea on how to do it as well. Rough idea? Well, truth be told, I looked up some cleaning guides for the SKS, and I figured, you looked up how to clean me? Yeah, of course. You said you had some issues with cycling if you were dirty? Well, I don't want that to happen. Range day tomorrow. You know. And that will end the first chapter of A.T. Annie here on this page. The funniest part about this story is the fact it's written by a little 5'4" Swedish snow elf lesbian. Just never known amuses. If you like this story and others like them, be sure to like and subscribe to Neckbeardia and click the bell icon so you know when the videos are released through the week. Additionally, be sure to put down your comment down below. We do love reading comments and helps us get more integrated with our community and hear what you guys got to say. There are sure to be more ᴡᴜᴇᴜ stories after this one because I just like telling them. I like the fact people took my background and made their own stories and kind of bent the background to their will and how they wanted to have it. I'm also going to be doing intercuts of spooky case stories and in a woods stories. So it'll be like the ᴡᴜᴇᴜ ones and in a woods stories, ᴡᴜᴇᴜ out stories, that kind of stuff. But until I see you next time here on Neckbeardia, this has been Guard Bro, and I will see you next time.